Greetings and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Run, and today we're playing as Azazel. Yesterday's daily was a bit disappointing, and not because it was a bad daily or anything like that, but because I had a very bad performance. I ended up dying very early. So with all of that combined, and the fact it was a Sunday, and why that is relevant is because Sundays are usually Mega Satan dailies, which means that the run goes to the end, so you go either to the chest or to the dark room, and of course there are no shenanigans where you have to find the shovel or Ava's runes or things like that, so it does make it a little bit more fair. And because of that, it was replaced with a lost daily, which is already pretty bad enough, but not only that, because it was a special daily, its goal was randomized, and somehow it ended up on Mom's foot. And because of that, I feel like a lot of people didn't really have a lot of fun, but I ended up dying very early on, so there really was no chance for me to experience it. And when you combine all of that and the fact it was just a bit of a maybe unfortunate daily for me, I feel like we needed a daily that would really just maybe instill us with some confidence, and I feel like this one was the perfect cure to the disaster that was yesterday. And what ended up happening is, of course, we got 3 syringes on the very first floor, which is kind of crazy. We got Poison Touch from Lust, we got the Adrenaline one from the treasure room, and then we got Roid Rage from our boss. So that completed the Smart transformation, also gave us speed, and also gave us some range. And of course, as Azazel, all of those 3 things are actually pretty decent, because damage scales really well with your little brimstone. You essentially deal much more than you would initially, but also range is important if you want to kind of kill enemies a bit more efficiently. You don't really want to be in that explosive radius where they can still hit you back. That was kind of lucky in some sense. Of course, getting 3 syringes on 1 floor, I would say, is pretty damn unlikely, but of course, because this is a seeded run, you can expect that everyone else would find it as well, so it's not like something that, it's not a seam. I guess what I'm trying to say is everybody would have this damage upgrade, and because of that, I feel like this makes, or at least sets for a pretty good run in of itself. And of course, later on, we got Ludovico technique, which synergizes super well with Azazel. You get this brimstone ring that just deals a ton of damage. It does reduce your initial damage that you have, so even though we got this fun transformation and that increased our damage, after picking up Ludovico it reduced it by a little bit, but it is of course offset by the fact that you deal a lot more DPS, because now you don't have to charge your brimstone ring, you can just kind of unleash it on the enemies, and that's pretty much it. So from this point on, it's just basically playing cruising. It's really all about just trying to maximize the chances, and anytime I feel like a daily is a really good daily, and you know that everybody else will have the same experience as well. And I feel like in this particular case, there's no way to miss either the Ludovico technique or the spawn transformation. So you can expect that everyone would find these items and, of course, would get that second floor devil deal. And because of that, we're all in pretty much a similar situation. So how can we kind of improve on that, or at least improve the scores of other players? And I feel like the strategy changes a little bit. Now, suddenly, it's not just about surviving. It's not just about getting to the objectives, because you can expect that pretty much everyone would do that, but now it's just about finding the minute details and really the aspects of the run that a lot of people wouldn't mind with, and would try to take advantage of them. And I feel like the one of that is just pick up items that you know are gonna give you a benefit in points. And for example, I usually wouldn't pick up the crown that gives you coins. How is it called? I'm not sure. But essentially, I wouldn't pick it up because it's just an added item penalty. If you know that there's a way to break the game, picking it up actually just increases your item penalty, but you're not getting any more consumables in return. But of course, in this particular run, even though we had the blank card, I felt like the odds of me finding a Gera rune or anything like that were low enough that it warrants just picking it up, because I feel like the points I would get from picking up the coins, even if it's just 40, are gonna be much more worth it on the long run, as opposed to just not picking it up in the first place. And of course, that does depend maybe on how many coins you have and just if you intend to buy things from the shop, but I felt like it was a strategic decision in some sense, and for that reason I decided that maybe this is a way to get an edge of the competition, which I would imagine some people would skip it, just because it's an item that you usually not pick up. And I just remembered how it's called, Pageant Boy. Yeah, Pageant Boy. And because there are a lot of Curse of the Losts on the floor, and the last one, and on this one as well, I feel like a lot of people really wouldn't bother by finding secret rooms. Or maybe they would, but they wouldn't find them because, of course, they're hidden, you can't see the map. So for that reason, I did my best, or at least I tried a bit harder than usual to go for them and try to find if there's anything hidden within. And of course, with time, I did find Mystery Sack, also got the Sack of Coins, or the Coin Sack, or whatever it's called. And of course, both of these items are good, not only because they give you consumables and things like that, but they're also good because they give you some passive swag bonus, and they give you consumables that you can pick up, and of course, by that you get points. And I feel like, again, this is just one of those things that would allow us to get a leg up on the competition, because I would expect not everyone would find these items, because they are hidden in the secret rooms, because of the Curse of the Lost, you can't really see them. And when we have them, or at least because we have them, I feel like now we're in a bit of a better position than the rest. Another item like that would be Virgo, and the Virgo is an item that not only does give you some invisibility and some spirit hearts, but it also turns every bad pill into a good one, so it essentially removes the bad pills. And I know that isn't that big of a deal because of how many pills are considered neutral and things like that, but now with the mom's dressing closet, we can actually bomb that up and to get some pills in return, and hopefully that might save us some points in the long run. So you might be saying, how can pills save you points? Well, one way is to get a perks pill, which we did get later on, which we can use in the sacrifice room to of course reduce our damage penalty when we try to teleport to the dark room. Another one maybe is the I Can See Forever, which reduces the need for you to bomb them, especially if you have Curse of the Lost, then you can essentially just see where the secret rooms are. And even if it just saves you 2 or 3 bombs in total, that's still enough, or at least it's still significant enough that it might make a difference between one rank or the other. And of course trinket choice is very important as well, because if you have something like the matchstick, that increases our chance of finding bombs, as opposed to if you had the AAA battery, which admittedly would increase the amount of charge that we have on our blank card, or reduce it in some sense. But also, it's not that beneficial in our current situation, so I felt like Matchstick is the way to go if you actually want to get some more swag out of that. So with all of those things combined, I felt like we were in a pretty good spot, and of course the biggest one of them all is just don't take a lot of damage. I do imagine a lot of people really don't have a good grasp on Ludovico technique, but obviously when you have a combination like that that's so super powerful, there's really not many ways you can go, and I would expect a lot of people would have a very little damage penalty, so I was kind of extra cautious and careful not to take even more damage. So I tried to use the pills that I had offensively, so for example, Feels Like I'm Walking on Sunshine gives you that invulnerability, you have the Sacrificial Dagger, you also have Poison Touch, so all of those things combined to allow you to not only be safe and invulnerable, but you can also use it to kill enemies when you feel like you're in danger. So all of those things combined again did, I feel like, put me in a position where I could use them and not get hit too much, and throughout the run I only got hit for 1 full red heart, which are 2 hits when you actually look at it statistically, or at least in numbers, if that makes any difference. And of course another thing I did here is I used the Judgment card in combination with the Blank card, and that's just a common combo that you would do, and you would usually do it in a secret room and hope to maybe get a reroll so you can get either a Forget Me Now or maybe something else that can help you out on a run. But in this particular case I just used it as often as possible because I felt like the points might end up mattering, and then I decided to blow them up. And of course every time you blow up a Judgment, not only do your chances of getting the devil room increases, but I also give you some consumables in return. And if you have like 5 of them, usually it pays for itself by 2, and if you have of course 5 of them, like I said before, then you just get more points on top of that. So it's just maybe a way to generate points, which is not very efficient admittedly, but it does give you something like 200-300 points in total. And again, all of those things combined, maybe individually they're not very important, or maybe they don't make a big of a difference, but individually combined, they actually, I feel like, matter more than a lot of people think, especially in a run like this one, which is very well optimized and there's really not a lot of ways you can go. This is a way to really get a leg up on the competition and just kind of stay ahead of the meta, if that makes any sense. And again, same story here with the perks pill. I go in, try to get as many coins as possible. I did notice that it really wasn't worth my time. I did get some points back. I did get something like 10 points, but you know, 10 points probably not gonna make a difference, even if I did say that the little ones do add up. And at the end we did finish at the 38,000 mark, which is actually really good for Womb 1, Womb 2 floors that go to Mom's Heart. And for all of that, when you combine them, another decision I made, which maybe was a bit not influential, but again was maybe decided on statistic and just maybe my intuition, is I took the perks pill in hopes of getting a sacrifice room. And if there was a sacrifice room, of course I could have used the perks pill. I would have reduced my damage penalty by twice-fold, so it would be twice as less, or half of what it usually would be, and that would have been good. But in that particular case, if I kept the Judgment card, maybe I could have gotten something like an Awas rune, or maybe but even a Yara rune by blowing the Judgments up as I actually went through the floor. So all of those things combined did end up with a pretty good score. I think I was 8th at the time of the recording, but I do expect a lot of people would perform even better, just because you do have that blank card if you find a Yara rune, which I think can happen because I think someone mentioned that they found them in the skulls. So if you do that, of course you can get a better score, but still, a very lovely daily with a nice synergy at the start. Ludovico technique is an item that it really doesn't show up that often, so when it does, especially in the hands of Azazel, it can be really fun. So I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I hope to see you next time.